Rima, it turned out to be a session which was weak, but we managed to recover for the Nifty. So we just about closed below 25,150. What stood out was the broader market weakness. We had the mid-cap index, which was down around 0.7%, and an extremely dismal advanced decline ratio from the get-go. PSU banks didn't do too well in today's trading session. So the Nifty PSU Bank Index itself was down around 1.5%.
Metals and realty also took a bit of a knock. Both those indices down nearly 1%. On the way up, there was only one sectoral index which managed to close up in the green, and that was your Nifty Capital Market, and that's courtesy PSA. But we've got you covered over the next 20 minutes with all the big news, key developments in Dalal Street, the top corporate voices, and the events to track. Talking about it in greater detail, we'll do the movers and shakers with Hormuz. Stocks, which reacted to the Q2 update. So whether it's an HCL Tech, whether it's a Bank of Maharashtra, Just Dial slipped on the back of a muted performance. You also have, we'll delve into the key market events to watch out for tomorrow. But as always, let's go across to the first element of the day. Of the show. Hormuz now joins in. Hormuz.
You mentioned PSU banks, and they were the big sulks of the day, even as the Nifty did manage to recover some ground from the lows. Not quite the case for a lot of the PSU banks. UCO Bank, Indian Overseas. Of course, these are low free float names, but still down around 3%, and almost all constituents of the PSU Bank Index ended lower in today's session. There were result reactions today. Bank of Maharashtra, well, slippages remaining at slightly elevated levels. So 3.5% lower at one point, was down almost 5% before the final tick. Ireda did well after its results that came out earlier this morning, and Anand Rathi Wealth gained almost 8% on very strong volumes today after its results. A lot of newsmakers dominated proceedings. MTAR Tech was up almost 13% today. Landmark Cars in reaction to its business update, and CE Infosystems was up almost 10% yesterday, adding another 9% in today's trading session. And stocks at 52-week highs despite a wobbly broader market. Stallion India reported results yesterday, continuing to build on to those gains. GM Breweries has been on a bit of a tear after it came out with results last week, and MCX now at record high levels, 5% higher on this stock today as well. And lastly, some of the broader market losers today. Vishnu Prakash Punglia was among the underperformers after a bit of a spurt. Apollo Micro was in a 5% circuit, and Aditya Birla Money was the one that was down around 6% in today's trading session. So some of the broader market sulks in today's trade.
Okay, all right, Hormuz, thanks very much for that. But the big story has to be, it was a blockbuster listing for LG Electronics, which listed at a 50% premium to its offer price of 1,140 rupees. The stellar listing makes it the newest entrant into the 1 lakh crore rupee market capitalization. This is the first Indian IPO to cross bids of worth over 4 lakh crore rupees. Upasna has been following the story. She joins in with more. Upasna.
Well, certainly the most awaited IPO, that is LG Electronics, listed on exchanges today, and it was certainly a bumper listing. Now, the IPO listed at a 50% premium at 1,710 versus the issue price of 1,140 per share. The company raised nearly 3,475 crore from anchor investors, and it is a bumper in terms of subscription levels. It is the first Indian IPO to cross bids worth 4 lakh crores. Now, if we talk about the stock movement, the stock was down about 1.6% today at 1687 per share, making the valuation stand around 52 times its FY25 EPS. And the MCAP has also exceeded over 1 lakh crores. Now, if we compare the valuation with the other peers in the large appliances segment, it is somewhere in line with them. Havells, Voltas, Blue Star, the valuation of them stack up 1 year forward PE, that is around 45 to 40 times 1 year forward PE. Now, in terms of financial metrics of these companies versus the peers, mind you that the revenue growth of LG Electronics is lower than the peer average of 19%, but the company certainly outperforms in terms of its EBITDA margins, PAT margins, and also ROCE, which is at a record level. Now, let us understand what the brokerages feel about this IPO. Now, Motilal Oswal expects the stock to trade at a higher multiple given the strong fundamentals and return ratios. Well, Nomura says that it expects a 10% revenue CAGR from FY25 to FY28, driven by multiple products, exports and service initiatives taken by the company. Well, Ambit has also given up preferences in terms of line of companies. In terms of large appliances, it prefers LG Electronics the most, followed by Blue Star, followed by Whirlpool, and lastly followed by Voltas. In terms of target prices, Antique has given a target price of 1725, Motilal a target price of 1800, Nomura has given a target price of 1800 as well, Ambit has given a target price of 1820, but MK has given the highest target price, that is 2050 for the share. So overall, it's a good listing and all consensus have given a buy rating on this one.
LG is a very big company, and say at a 2.9 billion level, and such a big company, you can't see a linear growth. I mean, there would be some fluctuations, but the best part is we are market leader, and even this year we further improved our market share for refrigerator and TV in the tune of 1.5 to 1.6%. Air conditioners we improved by 1%, microwave 1%, and for washing machine 0.1%. So it shows that a company, even after 28 years, improving their market share. So it indicates that we have not built our organization on the basis of some short-term disruption.
Right.
It has been built through a very long-term vision and strategy.
What's also interesting is that LG Electronics India market capitalization is at 13 billion, while its parent company in South Korea is valued at 9.4 billion, which means the Indian subsidiary is 40% more valuable than the parent. We have our guests also joining in on the show, Sudeep Bandyopadhyay and Jay Bala of Cash the Chaos. Sudeep, this pop that we've seen today of nearly 50%, is the valuation arbitrage catching up? It was cheap versus peers, and now with the kind of up move, it's caught up. But from here on, do you see, LG Electronics giving outsized returns? What could be the returns? Because the growth parameters, as Upasana was telling us, on the top line growth, it's not that it's growing very fast, and even estimates, brokerages are talking about a 12-13% kind of a revenue growth CAGR, the margins are better. So if the growth is going to be in line with the peers, now that the valuation arbitrage is played out, what next? You're on mute.
You're absolutely right. The valuation arbitrage was significant. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry. The valuation arbitrage was obviously there, and that led to this kind of rally on the first day of the listing. It was on unexpected lines. Now that to an extent the valuation gap has been narrowed, of course, it now quotes at a multiple which is slightly higher than the comparable peers. But if you look at the return ratios for LG, they are outstanding. I think the brand salience also is significant vis-a-vis many other peers. The spread of their products is also much better than many of the other competitors. So considering everything and considering the return ratios, they do deserve a better valuation. So I don't think the valuation will shrink. I think it can expand a bit more. We probably will give a valuation target of around 1800 based on whatever the facts and figures are there in front of us. So yes, there is scope for some growth further in terms of the valuation. So somebody getting an opportunity to enter, or somebody who has the shares, can wait a little longer for a better valuation for exit. But having said that, will it compound from here? The answer is no. It will be a performer, but it will not be an outperformer.
Well explained. Let's talk about HCL Tech. Now, HCL Tech closed flat. It opened up in the green with a gain of about 2.5%. But as the trading session progressed, it gave up all its gains to end absolutely flat. That said, the Q2 numbers were good. It was a beat on revenue, beat on margins, beat on deal wins. The company's top line grew by 1%. EBIT margins expanded by 110 basis points sequentially to 17.4%. Deal wins crossed $2.5 billion. And the company also, for the first time, quantified the advanced AI revenue, saying it's $100 million. Brokerages are bullish, neutral calls. The bullish calls are coming in from Jefferies, Nomura, CLSA, where they argue that the company's services revenue revenue growth. At 4 to 5% for this year, that's the guidance, is going to put it right on top of the large cap peer pack in terms of revenue growth. So that's what makes some of the bulls bullish on HCL Tech. But what needs to be watched as a trigger going ahead is margin expansion. So the current year margins are 17 to 18%, but historically it used to trade 18, 19%. So when the company gets back to that margin trajectory, we'll decide the re-rating from here on, according to analysts. Jay, considering that, despite the good numbers that we spoke about, the stock closed flat, gave up its gains. What does that tell you about the price action?
Overall, most of the frontline IT aren't looking great. They need to at least clock time for at least a couple of more quarters. And any bump up you see in frontline IT names like Infosys, TCS, and HCL Tech and Wipro, they are likely to be short-term based trading opportunity rather than medium to long-term investment opportunity. If my interpretation of the medium-term charts is correct, I think most of the frontline IT name will be below their all-time highs registered in late 2024, early 2025 for several quarters now. I think it's going to bore people to death being invested in IT. Maybe better off looking at second-rung IT names and third-rung IT names where the chart setup is much more better off. So avoid frontline IT names, including HCL Tech.
Okay, all right. Avoid frontline IT names, including HCL Tech. Well, we have Infosys as well as Wipro, which will be coming out with numbers this week. So it'll be interesting to see what they deliver. But Tata Motors passenger vehicle business, including JLR, kicked off trading in its demerged avatar today. It now commands a market capitalization of 1.5 lakh crore rupees. The pure play CV arm will list on a later date. Sudarshan is here with all of the details on this.
So it's finally happened. Tata Motors demerger scheme has come into effect today with the listing of Tata Motors passenger vehicles at a price of rupees 400 per share. And finally, at the close, the price for Tata Motors passenger vehicle was rupees 397 per share. And the discovered price for Tata Motors commercial vehicle business was around rupees 260 per share. But we'll have to understand what exactly will come under passenger vehicle segment and what will come under commercial vehicle segment. So overall, under Tata Motors, basically three businesses were there. First, JLR, second, Tata Motors passenger vehicle, and third, Tata Motors commercial vehicle. Now, after demerger, under passenger vehicle, the first segment that will come is JLR, second, India passenger vehicle, and third, company stake in Tata Technologies. Under commercial vehicle, India commercial vehicle business will come that consists of both trucks and buses. Now, going forward, so Tata Motor passenger vehicle is listed. Commercial vehicle segment is going to be listed in next 30 to 45 days. And that time we'll get to know exactly at what price it gets listed. As far as the value goes, some of the brokerages have come out with the valuation overall. So, as per JP Morgan, it has valued passenger vehicle segment at rupees 392 per share, commercial vehicle at rupees 306 per share, Nomura has valued PV at rupees 365 per share, and CV at 367. As per Nuvama, passenger vehicle segment is valued at rupees 410 per share and CV at rupees 280 per share. Apart from that, company has also got approval from Corporate Affairs Ministry for the name change, and for passenger vehicle segment, new name is Tata Motors Passenger Vehicles Limited.
Okay, all right. Well, Sudeep, have you looked at the demerged version of Tata Motors, and what's your sense?
Well, I think it's a good thing they have done. I think it brings in sharper focus because these two are different animals altogether. And with EV coming in the mix, I think it's better they have done it. As far as the valuation of JLR and passenger vehicle piece is concerned, I think we were expecting around 400, got listed there. I think it's trading there as well. We'll have to see the commercial vehicle listing as and when that happens. But I strongly believe that the commercial vehicle segment with a sharper focus will continue to perform and perform much better than probably what it was performing in a conglomerate kind of a setup. So let's wait for that listing of that and the performance of that, because you see the passenger vehicle is a very, very competitive space, and the competition is becoming more intense with electric vehicle coming in the mix. Whereas the commercial vehicle segment, while Ashok Leyland is a competitor, but I think Tata commercial vehicles also will have a very good play, and they can aim for leadership after some time.
Thanks for that. Let's get in some more stocks which are in the news. Just Style slipped after Q2 numbers disappointed. IREDA, IRDA soared. MTAR Tech hit a 52-week high. So let's just get in the news behind these stocks. Ria joins in.
Well, yes, Just Dial ended nearly 5% lower after its Q2 numbers. The slow growth for the company has continued in this quarter. Revenue has gone up by just around 1.75% sequentially and up 6.5% on a year-on-year basis. The revenue growth has been in single digits for the last 5 quarters now for the company, and EBITDA margins have remained steady at 28.7%. Net profit has also gone down by around 22.5% on a year-on-year basis due to an increase in the tax rate. Moving on to MTAR Tech, which on the flip side was higher by around 11% today. Brookfield has backed Bloom Energy, which is MTAR Tech's key client, with $5 billion for fuel cells to power AI data centers. Now, in terms of what MTAR Tech's role is in all of this, they are the key strategic supplier to Bloom Energy, supporting its solid oxide fuel cell as well as solid oxide electrolyzer programs. They are also the sole supplier for Bloom's electrolyzer units, which is a critical, which plays a critical role in Bloom's supply chain. And they also currently cater to approximately 50 to 60% of Bloom's hotbox requirements, which is why the stock was soaring in trade today. IRDA also ended up around 3% today. The net interest income for the company in this quarter has gone up by nearly 50% on a year-on-year basis. Even the operating profit has gone up by around 55%. Provisions, although, have declined sharply sequentially by 80% on a sequential basis, and net profit is also up by nearly 42% for the company.
Okay, all right, Ria. Thanks very much for that. And Sudeep as well as Jay, thanks very much for joining in and taking us through all of your views. We need to take a short break now, but we'll get you all of the top corporate voices along with key market events to watch out for.
Welcome back. Let's get to the key corporate voices of the day. Anand Rathi Wealth Management told us their core strategy remains buy low, sell high. The firm continues to aspire towards 1 lakh crore rupees in AUM by FY26, with the revenue growth guidance maintained for the current fiscal year. They also highlighted that over 200 client additions in the September quarter is now set as the target run rate for the second half of the year too. The firm's near-term AUM target stands at 1,000 crore rupees.
Next, we spoke to KEC, the management, who shared that new orders are coming in with margins above 10% and an average execution timeline of 18 months. The company is currently working on tenders worth 15 lakh crore, with international orders totaling around 30,000 crores. Collections of around 700 crores are pending in terms of the firm's water portfolio project. The firm maintains a margin target in the range of 8 to 8.5%.
And with Diwali around the corner, we'll get you a festive musical glimpse of insightful conversation with India's top market masters, Vijay Kedia, Sridhar Shivaram and N. Jay Kumar, as they join our colleagues Mangalam and Nimesh for a special Diwali Mehfil.
The other asset class that I have been speaking about is gold.
Yes.
And there are a lot of skeptics in the market about gold. In fact, in the last 1 week, I've seen more skepticism on gold than anything else.
Are you really talking about skepticism in the gold? Because we hear, on the other hand, a lot of people actually saying, "Oh my
Can
God,
I buy
gold,
ETF?
should I buy
silver
gold?"
ETF? So the people, I'm guessing that the people who missed out on the gold rally, they come out with random data that how gold has underperformed between 1980 and 2000. How gold is a very volatile asset class, and in most cases they sort of give out a dollar return number, whereas it is for the Indian investor, it is the rupee gold that matters. And as I've said many times, that gold actually is a store of value and also is a hedge against currency. People miss the hedge against currency. So if you go back to 1980, the rupee was 9 rupees. Today it is 85 rupees. So you've got a compounded return of 4 to 5% just on currency. So if I want to put it in a song, I would put it in this way. कोई सोने के दिल वाला, कोई चांदी के दिल वाला, शीशे का है मत वाले तेरा दिल। महफिल ये नहीं तेरी, दीवाने कहीं चल। कोई सोने के दिल वाला, कोई चांदी के दिल वाला, शीशे का है मत वाले तेरा दिल।
Last 1 year, the Nifty has actually gained just about 4%. Gold is 60%.
60%.
Silver is, I think, even
also, yes.
Much higher than that. So you had a nice repartee to that. What was that?
श्रीधर भाई को ये बोलना चाहता हूँ भाई कि ठीक है, ये तो गोल्ड मैन है अपने बोल्ड मैन है तो मैं इनका बात का जवाब दूंगा कि ना चाहूँ सोना चांदी, ना चाहूँ हीरा मोती, ये मेरे किस काम के। ना मांगू बंगला बाड़ी, ना मांगू घोड़ा गाड़ी, ये तो है बस नाम के। लेता है शेयर ले बदले में सबके, लेता है शेयर ले बदले में सबके। ओरे साहिबा शेयर से सौदा नहीं।
क्या बात।
It's a nice contra to what
So, the next 1 year, how do you foresee the next 1 year when it comes to earnings, when it comes to the macros, when it comes to micros? If I had to ask you to bet on a few themes and a few ideas, what would they be for, say, summer 2083 when we hopefully gather once again for a mehfil?
So I'd like to talk about 2 or 3 sectors. My number one sort of bullish case is for banking. I believe that when any economy reopens up or opens up for foreign capital, banking is the first space that will attract money. So I think NBFC consolidation, money coming into private sector banks, more and more deals like the Yes Bank kind of deals, I think we'll get to see and hear over the course of the next few quarters.
The ones that have fallen so far? Or?
I think it's not a question of follow. I think these are platforms that can't be replicated. Like NBFCs, there are infinite number of NBFCs in a manner of speaking. But there are a finite number of banking licenses, no new licenses to be given. So I think banking sector could attract disproportionate amounts of capital as people, especially foreign banks, come in to take stakes in the Indian context. I think that's going to be a big theme going forward.
Okay, and on that musical note, we're going to get to all of the events to watch for tomorrow. Ria joins in to tell us more. Ria.
Well, yes, we have the industrial production data coming out of Europe tomorrow. In India, we have the trade balance data as well as the RBI MPC minutes to watch out for. A whole host of companies are coming out with their Q2 results tomorrow. Watch out for Angel One, Axis Bank, Delta Corporation, HDB Financial Services, HDFC AMC, HDFC Life Insurance Company, as well as IRFC, KEI Industries, L&T Finance, Oberoi Realty and Tata Communications. HDFC AMC will also be holding a board meeting to consider a bonus issue, whereas HDFC Life Insurance and Wellspun Enterprises will be holding board meetings to consider fundraising options. In other events, the World Bank IMF annual meetings continue until the 18th of October. Also watch out for the IMF Fiscal Monitor press briefing. Fed Chair Jerome Powell gives a speech at the National Association for Business Economics at their annual meeting. And lastly, in the US, we have the G20 Finance and Central Bank Governors meeting on the 15th and 16th of October.
Thank you very much for that. And that brings us to a close in this edition of Markets Forward. Many thanks for watching.